Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, SAP with IK. Hope you're all doing good. Today's topic will be on the phantom assembly. So what is basically a phantom assembly? So let's say in a discrete manufacturing industry, we do have a semi-finished material which has a set of components and that should be assembled together so that that particular semi-finished will be in a particular form. So let's take an example of a bearing housing, right? So which has got few bearings and also it has a shaft. And this bearing housing is being used into a different assembly of the main product. So instead of creating, a separate production order for this particular bearing housing, we can actually create this as a phantom assembly. So the phantom assembly, it basically will have a bill of material, but it will not have a routing. Why? Because we are not actually manufacturing anything, but we are just assembling the parts together, and that will be used in the finished product. So here is an example of the casing assembly. So if you can see the picture here, we do have a casing that has been assembled together by using a shaft, and also it has got two plumber blocks or also bearing housings. So we have two bearing assemblies here, one on the left hand side and the other one on the right hand side. So when we create a bill of material for the casing assembly, we are going to define the bearing assembly as a particular phantom item. So here we will have two phantom items. One is the right bearing assembly and the second one is the left bearing assembly. So again, in the bearing assembly, we might have few other components, the sleeve, the ball bearings, and so on and so forth. So, but we are not going to create any production order to manufacture them or put them together, right? So here we are basically restricting the creation of production orders. Why? Because this particular bearing assembly, once it has been set together in this particular form, it can be directly used into the finished product assembly process. So let's see in SAP how this basically works and what kind of settings do we need to enable in order to create a phantom assembly. So here I am in SAP. So the first thing I would like to do is basically to show you the bill of material. So for that I'm going into CS03 and this is the finished product. Yeah. So this is the final product or the finished product, the casing, which has basically the 5 components as you can see in the BOM. So the first 3 are basically direct components which are being used in the manufacturing process of this particular casing. And also we do have item 40 and 50, which is the left bearing assembly and the right bearing assembly, which has a second level BOM, a next level BOM again. So in order to have this left bearing assembly and the right bearing assembly in stock, we basically have to manufacture these 2 items. But here, by creating these 2 parts as the phantom assembly, we are basically avoiding the production process. So in order to avoid that, we are basically marking these 2 as phantom assemblies, but they will have its own bill of material along with its components, but they will be assembled together when the manufacturing starts for the casing or the finished product. So here, if you can see this particular column, the phantom item, it has the check boxes here. It means that these 2 components are basically defined as a phantom item. So how do we basically define any material as a phantom item? So for that, we will have to assign the special procurement key in the material master. So if I go into the MRP2 view, here we have the special procurement. So the special procurement key that we should use here is 50 for the phantom assembly. So once the special procurement key has been enabled in this semi-finished or the bearing assemblies in this example, so this particular part will be considered as a phantom item. So apart from this, we don't need any specific configuration. Why? Because the special procurement key 50 is part of the standard setup. So once we enable the special procurement key, and then we can add these two subassemblies into the bill of material of the finished product. But let's say sometimes this particular material, it can be used in a different bill of material, but there it shouldn't be marked as a phantom assembly. So in that case, what you can do is, let's say we are talking about a different product here, right? So in that particular bill of material, if we go into the item details of this subassembly, we do have the explosion type here. So if we mark this explosion type as switch off phantom assembly, so this will basically turn off the phantom setup only for this particular bill of material. But in the master data, it will still have the special procurement key as 50, right? So if the same material is used for different purposes, like in one BOM it should be as a phantom assembly, and in the other BOM it should not be as a phantom assembly, like it should be like a standard semi-finished item. So in that case, we can use this particular field or the option to disable the phantom item. So the special procurement key in the material master will not be considered into the planning. So one more point we have to consider here is basically whatever items that have been defined as a phantom item. So for these materials, the planning or the stock will not be available. Like whenever you open MD04, you will not see the dependent requirements or the order reservations being transferred into these phantom items. Okay, I can show you the multi-level BOM structure. Right. So the first level, it has got the 5 components that we have seen in CS03. But here in the second level, we do have the bomb exploded for the left bearing assembly, which is also a phantom item. So under this particular left bearing assembly, we do have 3 components. And similarly, for the second phantom assembly, the right bearing assembly, we also have 3 different components, right? So in this particular phantom assembly scenario, whenever we create a production order or maybe a planned order, the raw materials below the subsequent level of this particular phantom assembly will be planned, but the phantom assembly itself will not be planned. Okay, so the reservations will be passed on to the subsequent level components. Okay, so let's create a production order, and then it gives you a more clarity on how this works. But before that, let me just open the MD04 for one of the component and show you. So here, the requirements are not passed here. And similarly, if I go to the phantom assembly MD04, even here you can see that there are no requirements. Okay, so now I'll start creating a production order. So in order to create a production order, I don't want to create it manually. So I would like to go with the creation of a planned order, and then go to the subsequent levels of the BOM and see how the dependent requirements have been created for the components. So for that, I'm going to run MRP. So if we look at the stock statistics, we do have an available quantity of 10 pieces, and the safety stock requirement is of 100 pieces. So which gives me a requirement of 90 pieces now. So I'm going to run MRP. So MRP has been executed and refresh. So now we have a planned order created for the shortage of 90 pieces. So if I go into the details of this planned order, and go into the component list, we do see the complete structure of the phantom assembly or the bill of materials already exploded here, right? So these two are the phantom items, and the child materials below that, as you can see here, item 10, 20, 30, and again item 10, 20, 30. These are the child materials under these two phantom items. So now I'm going to go back. So let me go to the bill of the MD04. Let's say one of the phantom item. So I'll go to the left bearing assembly. So this is the left bearing assembly. As you can see, there is no requirement generated for the semi-finished item or the phantom item. So similarly, if I go into the MD04 of the child material under the phantom item, so as you can see here, we do have a dependent requirement created against the planned order that we have for the finished product. So if I go into the details of this dependent requirement, we can see the same planned order 96021 that has been created for the finished product. So once I convert this planned order of the finished product into a production order, so I go to the component screen, and here also we can see we have the phantom item indicator enabled, these two check boxes, which means that these items are the phantom items. So the same way that we have seen in the planned order, it appears the similar way in the production order component screen as well. Okay, and now I'm going to save it. So what I expect is basically that the dependent requirement for the child items or the components under the phantom item, and also the components under the finished product BOM, they will turn into an order reservation. Why? Because we have converted the planned order into a production order. So I'm going to save this. Okay, so now we have this production order ending with 6331. And again, I'll go back to the MD04 of one of the child material under the phantom. And now we expect an order reservation. So if we go into the details of this order reservation, we can see the production order which has created the reservation. And also the pegged requirement is basically coming from the left bearing assembly, right? Why? Because this is the parent for this particular component RT121 component, and that basically pegs the requirement between the finished product and the child component here. But if I go into the MD04 of this RB121 or the left bearing assembly, let me go to that 121. So nothing basically appears here, right? Sorry. So nothing appears here, right? Why? Because the phantom assembly will never take the requirements, nor it will be updated in a stock. So as soon as we create the production order, we can go ahead with the confirmation process, the goods movements, and also the goods receipt process. But the stock for this particular phantom item will never be replenished. And similarly, I'm going to check for another component, let's say the flat gasket. We can see the same order reservation coming from the right bearing assembly. Why? Because this component belongs to the right bearing assembly, but we still have the same production order. In the same way, let me check for the the direct component under the finished product, so which is RT120. So here also we can see an order reservation created, but here you can see that the pegged requirement is directly to the finished product. Why? Because the finished product itself has its own child components, right? So that's the reason it is already pegged to the finished product itself, the casing. So this is how basically the phantom assembly works.